I hope the Democrats join us on tax reform. I think that's fantastic if they do. We're going to go the path we've been planning on tax reform. Actually, I've heard from quite a few Democrats lately that they like what we're talking about. Yeah.
Speaker Ryan, after yesterday's meeting with the president, do you believe that you have a trustworthy negotiating partner in the president that takes into account the interests of the country?
I do. And look, I know there's a lot of interpretations and all of this stuff about the meeting yesterday. Isn't it a good thing that congressional leaders talk? I mean, that's probably a pretty good thing, number one. Number two, the president made it really clear. And what he was aiming for in that meeting yesterday was a bipartisan moment while the country is facing two horrible hurricanes. And so what he made clear to us is he didn't want to have, look, personally, I think the debt limit in the credit markets, the longer, the better for the stability of the credit markets. That's my strong opinion. But he was interested in making sure that this is a bipartisan moment while we respond to these hurricanes. And he made that clear, and I think that's what his motivation was.
You described the plan to fund Harvard with a raise in the debt ceiling as, I think, ridiculous and disgraceful.
No, I didn't describe it that way. I think you're putting words in my mouth. I described a short-term debt limit. Look, I'm worried about the credit markets and doing this on short-term basis. We can't keep doing it that way. But I think what the president basically expressed is at this moment, when we just had a massive hurricane hit Texas and Louisiana, we got one that just hit the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and now Florida. And this thing, if you look at the cone of this hurricane, it could be anywhere from Georgia to South Carolina. So that is a tough moment for our country, and we need to make sure that the government responds to people. And so the president wanted to make sure that we are going together as Republicans and Democrats to respond to this. I was making an economic point, which is, with respect to the credit markets, I think stability and longevity are key. Wong.
At yesterday's meeting, President Trump apparently proposed the idea of scrapping future debt limit votes. Is that something that you could get behind?
No, I think I won't get into a proper conversation that we had, but I think there's a legitimate role for the power of the purse and Article I powers, and that's something that we defend here in Congress.
Texas has about $10 billion sitting around in its unfortunately named rainy day fund. They're not holding a special session to get into it. Should they have to tap some of that money before they get to this round or a future round of federal aid?
I won't get into what they have or aren't doing with their legislative session. I spoke with Governor Abbott last night. What we know is the Disaster Reserve Fund, which, by the way, this isn't just for Harvey. This is for all disasters. And we've got more than just one disaster occurring in this country, especially today, than what's going on in Texas. What's happening is, unlike Katrina, where I don't think iPhones even existed then, people on their smartphones are quickly applying for their FEMA relief. And those applications are being approved, and that money's going out the door at such a faster pace than we'd ever experienced before, to the point where OMB is telling us FEMA could run out of money as early as tomorrow, and no later than Tuesday. So that is basically the projections we're getting from Homeland and OMB. And we have a Treasury Secretary who's worried about the borrowing limit to cash flow these payments to FEMA, particularly now that there's a new hurricane hitting this country today. And so those are the concerns that trump everything else, no pun intended. Those are the concerns that prevail over everything else, and that is why we have this issue right in front of us.
But should Texas at some point ante up?
Look, I think Texas, I'm sure they're going to.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.